It's the miscues that hurt the most. Like I was saying, the Jaquaski Tart dropping the interception that could have changed the whole complexity of the game. And it's funny because that throw by Stafford at the time, at that moment, like Stafford was known for when the moment gets really big, he'll force the ball downfield and turn it over. And it was happening in front of us until he dropped that ball. And then all of a sudden,
he threw a punt in the middle of the field. And then all of a sudden,
the Rams win that game. Now Stafford's regarded as like one of the best quarterbacks out there right now. Just clutch.
You know what's weird is that the first one to me hurts more because like we really could have stunted the growth of Mahomes in Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Second time it ended it, and it was like, damn, like imagine you can always go back in the domino effect. Like if the Niners win that Super Bowl, funny enough, I think the exact same quarterback controversy happens. They still keep Jimmy. He gets hurt again. He probably coasts even more throughout his time. And they still go and try to get Trey Lance, or maybe they get Matthew Stafford. Who knows? But
I think, to be honest, that if so this is actually a good topic because this is something I thought about the other day that I wanted to bring up on the podcast. And since we're doing it now, let's just do it. You have three different, I guess, for this conversation. Yeah, you could do it. You have three different scenarios, right?
Yeah.
In 2011, NFC title game. Kyle Williams, it hits off his leg.
No,
he pretends like it doesn't. Oh, and the Niners end up losing that game. If the Niners win that game, go to the Super Bowl and win, do they still draft Colin Kaepernick, or do they just stick with Alex Smith?
Good question, man.
Ooh.
That is a
because
good question.
The next year, as soon as he got hurt, he was like,
what year was that again? It was 2011, 2013.
That was a 2011.
I hate the Niners so much.
We all do to some extent.
And everyone in the chat, chime in as well. If the Niners win that game against the Giants and go on to win the Super Bowl against the Patriots, do the Niners stick with Alex Smith and not even draft Colin Kaepernick?
Greg Roman still the play caller?
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, he would have been. Wait, hold on.
I don't know, man.
But when was Cap drafted?
2012, wasn't he? Or was it 2011?
I think it was 2011. I think he's already on the team.
He was on the team.
Yeah, so
maybe they still do.
Had him anyways.
Yeah, because they weren't sold on Alex Smith anyway because he had been through an up and down career. That was his best year. Was the year they went to the title game.
Do you know the story of why Harbaugh ended up keeping Smith? Like their interaction that led to him like being like, yeah, this is my guy for a year and a half, I guess.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Smith was at the facility when Harbaugh got hired. Right. He's rehabbing, working out, getting his arm ready. They like went and played catch, and during their catching session together, that's when Jim was like, "This is my guy." And I'm like, "You played catch with the dude and said this is him.
This is him."
It took Kyle Shanahan half of that to want Trey Lance. Like, what are we doing? Like, come on, man. Like, oh my goodness. So, all that to say, Jim being the ultimate motivator of quarterbacks, like, I think you could have put a saltine cracker just being mid, no flavor, nothing really in that quarterback room, and Jim Harbaugh gets the best out of the guys. Now, they'll falter in some moments, whether it's Herbert or whatnot, but like, he's just the ultimate motivator. He doesn't call the offense, doesn't call the defense, but like, man, if you want to, make chicken salad out of chicken shit sometimes, Jim Harbaugh's your guy. Like, he really is.
Yeah.
Like, that Niners team wasn't terrible, but it wasn't what it was. Like,
I feel like there's a shelf life though with that kind of.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Okay. So we move on. In 2012, if the Niners get into the end zone and they win the Super Bowl, how does that change the trajectory of the Niners? They obviously re-signed Kaepernick, or they signed that big contract he got anyway. But do you think it would have altered things the following year? I don't know if it would have.
Jed's not firing Jim Harbaugh. Jed
he's not firing Jim Harbaugh.
He is untouchable at that point.
Yeah.
Like politics in the chat.
Oh man. So like, I also don't know because like the way things ended so quickly. You lose the Super Bowl, the next year you lose in the title game, and then you're 8-8, and it's like all over. Like you have to wonder if they win the Super Bowl, and let's say the same thing plays out, and they lose to the Seahawks the next year, and then they lose to, or they go 8-8. Like, does everybody retire? Does the team age out? Like,
yeah, I mean, it changes everything.
I feel like Patrick Willis. I think Patrick Willis either way would have retired.
Yeah,
I don't have any.
His turf wasn't getting any better,
if not sooner.
Yeah,
I have a ring. I'm gone. Like,
I think if they I feel like they win the Super Bowl, Alex stays the starter. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like once they lost that chance, and then they saw they saw what the offense could do with a different dynamic added to it. You know what I mean? And once they saw that, and then you add Frank Gore to the mix too, you have this unbelievable running back, this pretty damn good offense. I'll tell you what, that offensive line with Upati, they were
fantastic.
They were huge. They were huge.
It was
Upati, Staley, Upati, Godwin. Who was the right guard?
It was what's his name?
Davis was the tackle. Alex Boone, that's who it was.
Alex Boone.
Dude,
they were good.
Do you ever hear the story about him, like when he lost his mind and he like jumped up on top of a car and was like stomping it? He had some issues early in his career, and then he like fixed himself. Yeah, he was a psychopath. But yeah, I feel like.
Have you heard the Justin Smith catching Joe Staley's furniture on fire story that the Grit Code guys told?
What did he do? I think I have. What?
He I guess in a roundabout way, I don't know all the details, but like in some way, like they're over at Joe Staley's house, and like Justin Smith ends up like catching his outside furniture and like putting it on fire because he's just going crazy. And it's like
who's gonna stop him?
That's nuts, man. Like you're not stopping that cowboy.
No,
burn your house down. You're just gonna take it.
Dude, he would steal your wife from you. Do what he had to do, be done with it, and there was nothing you could do about it because he'd kick your ass. It's just like, damn it.
Get in your hotel chair.
It's so weird to think about
totally
the 2012
totally being a cuck. Yep.
That 2012 defense. Like how did they give up that many points to the Baltimore Ravens with Joe Flacco,
man?
Flacco and Anquan Bolden,
R.I.P. man.
Jacoby Jones.
Corey Smith was there.
Justin Smith was hurt in that game. He was very injured. And
he was injured playing. But you had Alden Smith out there.
It just goes to show you how bad that safety room actually was at covering.
Yeah, they were getting burnt
all year, all the time. And like Chris Culliver wasn't great. It was like Terrell Brown and Carlos Rogers in the last year of his twilight of his career. It's like, man.
Yeah, that's
good times. Good times.
I mean, look at the championship game against the Saints, or the divisional game. They couldn't freaking cover a wet paint. They were bad, dude. That was
Chris Culliver. Remember him?
Chris Culliver.
For as applauded as that defense is, I do think we forget like how bad they were on the back end at covering.
Yeah, they were pretty rough.
Over the top, it was over. Like they just couldn't cover.
Okay.
They all would come downhill and they'd lay the hammer, but that was all they can do, which was great. But it's like after a while, you get behind them.
Okay, so let's jump real quick to. What year was that? 2019 against the Chiefs. Yeah. If they pull that off and they win that game, do the Niners stick with Jimmy Garoppolo? Or do you think at that point they were like, we're done?
They didn't even win and they kept him.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but they drafted Trey Lance. I don't even think they made that trade to get Trey Lance.
No, I think you're capitalizing on the win now mode. You're not going into rebuild or hoping the quarterback develops in a couple of years. I think they're paying up for Stafford, or they're just getting Kirk Cousins and calling it a day.
Yeah.
Which I would hate that, but
Well, you have to understand too, like, you guys do understand, like, Kyle, with that, when everything's rolling with the Niners and like, the defense is playing well and offensively Kyle's in his bag.
They did.
Go ahead. If you have a quarterback who's average to a slightly above average, it doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Like you can win the Super Bowl with that. Everybody always talks about Purdy not being elite and then he's not an elite level player. Who gives a shit? Like with Kyle and the way this team is built and the way he calls plays and, when the defense was clicking, like, I don't really care if they win a Super Bowl and their quarterback isn't, the top of the top, So yeah, I could have saw Kirk Cousins come here and do the same thing. I had no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, they did stick with him in the 2020 season, but after that, that's when they were like, hey, we got to make a move, and let's get a young quarterback in here instead of paying this guy, Jimmy Garoppolo. But if you won the Super Bowl, I don't know if they make that change. They might say, you know what, we won the Super Bowl with him. But I don't know. Him and Jimmy and Kyle's relationship was never really rock solid.
Yeah, I think the only thing that changes is the trade up for Trey Lance.
Yep.
I don't think it changes the career arc at all because Jimmy still gets hurt in week 2 of 2020. You have the COVID season, and then 2021 happens, and Jimmy Garoppolo was still there as a starting quarterback with Trey. Now, maybe the move is 2022 instead of 2021 of like, okay, but even then, Jimmy was brought back in 2022. It's not if they didn't keep him. He finished out his entire contract and got paid by the Raiders. Like, whether they won a Super Bowl or not, he finished out his contract with the San Francisco 49ers anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
No. But I do think they're not going from Jimmy to Trey or Jimmy to Purdy. They're going from Jimmy to somebody else who's more proven at that point in time.
Who are we selecting that year if we're not selecting Trey Lance?
Micah Parsons.
Yeah. Micah
we would have finally gotten that other edge rusher.
What year was it?
It was 2021 was Trey Lance's draft class.
Yep.
Penei Sewell was there. Well,
because 2020 we had the injury. We had the injury season, and we had a bad run.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What year was it?
2021.
All right. Well, all my monitors turned off for a second.
Because it goes, it's like it's Lawrence, it's Wilson, it's Lance, and then like mixed in there is like Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell, Micah Parsons, Mac
Jamar
Jones
Chase,
is in there,
Kyle Pitts
or something.
Pitts went right after Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle, Penei Sewell,
J.C.
Horn, Patrick Surtain. This is a loaded draft.
Imagine J.C. Horn in San Francisco playing corner.
Pat Surtain.
Yeesh, yeah.
Devontae Smith.
I would have taken Jason Waddle. He's a pretty damn good receiver.
Micah Parsons went number 12 to the Dallas Cowboys. Waddle.
You know what's crazy, though, is like the receivers in that first round were Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Smith. You can make an argument that Jalen Waddle is the worst one of that group, which is crazy, and he's still really good.
Yeah. It's funny.
Can you guys see that?
No. You know what's crazy about that, Sterling, is
Ben Collins.
My brother, we were talking about the Dolphins and what they're doing. They're like completely like gutting the team.
Yeah.
My brother's like, oh, for certain they're going to keep Waddle. They said it during a press conference. I'm like, I guarantee they wouldn't. And then it didn't happen. And then he's like, no, they're not going to move on from A-Chan. I'm like, dude, they're going to gut this whole thing. Nobody's safe.
I mean,
A-Chan's the one guy I can see staying, if I'm being honest.
He's really good.
Yeah. When you look at this top 12, obviously Micah Parsons is there. A lot of good players are there. If they were just they were drafting what they needed. Do you think they take Micah Parsons at number 3? They had number 12 to begin with, right?
Yeah. So what's the needs in 2012? You're coming off of 2020.
No, 2021.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. You're coming off
Colin
of
Kaepernick.
Yeah. Like Trent Williams is still there. Bosa's coming off an ACL injury. Your defensive line is Samson Ebukam. It's Arden Key. It's Nick Bosa. It's Kerry Hyder Jr. It's Armstead. I mean, you might be going defensive line, and you might be going defensive tackle. Like, well, no, because 2020 you drafted Javon Kinlaw, so you're not going defensive tackle.
You're not.
And you went Brandon Ayuk the year before, so you're not going receiver either. You know what? Well, if they're 12, Kyle Pitts isn't there after them from 17 and on.
Let's see. Let me scroll down.
Because let's see.
Go full screen. You can see it's much easier.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, you got
holy crap! I still can't see.
Jalen Phillips.
You know what? This is
Kadarius Toney.
McCaffrey. It's pre-Christian McCaffrey. I do wonder if Kyle's like, I need to get myself some Travis Etienne or A-Chan, whatever his name is. I could really see it. Or he's going. Well, no. You know who would
Najee Harris?
What? Dude. So this is 1 year after they took McKivitz. McGlinchey's still there. He leaves in 2023, right? So they have their tackles fixed. They're done. dang, dude, I don't know.
Like Penny Sewell's amazing, but you're right. They probably
He'll be
would not have
fine.
gone with Penny Sewell.
No.
It's hard to say.
And they're not drafting a tight end either. There's just it's not
And-
happening.
No, Kittle's
At
still in
this
his prime.
point, they already had what? They had
Mhm.
Ayuk and they had Debo.
Kittle.
I don't know. They might go DB. If they traded up and let's say they're like, we're not going to get a quarterback. We're just going to go with the best player available. They
Yeah.
might go DB. Then they might still go receiver with Jamar Chase, but he probably would have been like, I don't want to play there. I want to play for Cincinnati with Joe Burrow.
I think they go Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They see what
it's
they
either.
lost.
Yeah.
They see what they lost with D Ford, and the injuries and it was a bad trade. The Niners
This
got
is a
duped.
bad trade. They should have never have done this trade.
But you think about that, Micah Parsons right there becomes the bookend, and then look how good that Niners defense would be with prime Dre Greenlaw, prime Fred Warner, prime Nick Bosa,
Prime Micah, Prime Jimmy Ward still,
prime Jimmy Ward.
Okay.
Prime Richard Sherman.